Hey y'all, thanks for joining us today for another live adventure here from the WHCC studios. I'm Robert, and next to me is the knower of all knowable things.
Kristina.
Yeah.
Thanks, Robert.
Say hello to the, yes. And we are happy to be with you today. We're going to be with you for about 25 minutes today. And yes, we're live, so if you have any questions about the things that we talk about today, drop your questions in and we'll get to as many as we can. But fear not, of course, we're going to post this later. This is going to be on, so you can go back and review it. So don't worry about that. And if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to get the latest updates and information going forward. So today we're going to talk about a couple of different things. Spring has sprung. What's the name of that hedgehog, Connor? Puxatani Phil told us 6 weeks of winter was, and it's now. So it means it's spring. So we're going to talk about a couple of different product segments and cool usage. That's really what you want to know, is what can we do with these things that are interesting and different that are going to make you stand out. We're going to start with books and talk about several options there. Then we're going to move on to smaller, easier products to add in that are kind of fun, and then end with acrylic blocks and usages there. So let's jump right in.
Yeah,
More of
that
all
sounds
things
good,
knowable.
Robert.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start with our lay flat books here. And I'm just going to grab a pile because I like piles. And we're going to talk about usage here. And here's the cool thing about books and the different things that you can do with them. So we are going to open up your mind with some of this stuff. Right here is Hello Baby, right? This is a combo cover, and it's going to be one of our lay flat books. It's going to have the rounded corners on it. But here's the thing. So anytime you want to do anything that you want something written in or signed on, you want to choose the smooth matte, right? The smooth matte paper, there's a photo paper option, and you want the smooth matte paper. I'm going to go ahead and do that, Connor, right? So we see the rounded corners up here in the nice edition. So letter to baby to start it off. But here's the cool thing, right? So the more you put into this, the more it's going to make a difference to your clients. I promise you that. And you're going to jump in. Here's an area where you can drop in some photos. So this is your own design that you're creating here. And there's the pregnancy photos moving back. Now here's where the cool stuff starts. Now this is just genius. I love this. So here's the baby announcement. I don't know if you can even catch that, Connor, but this just has the washi tape on the top and the bottom here. Tape the actual card in there. Isn't that cool? It becomes kind of this multimedia thing, which I think really makes it stand out.
Well, it lets the parents kind of be proactive about it. And if you give them a spot to put the announcement, that means they also need to order an announcement for the spot to put it in there, right? So I feel like it's kind of setting them up for success on that part too.
The knower of all things knowable. You see what I'm saying? Or how about this? Then now, here's the actual baby announcement, and here, how about some mini snapshots, right? Think about it. There are so many things that you can do and set up your design. So
well,
that you can
and
do
these
this.
images too, Robert, they could be images that the photographer professionally took, right? Or you could even kind of insinuate that you will let them, because parents take a lot of pictures of their baby, right? Or especially no matter if there's first, second, or third. And they think their pictures are good, which is okay, right? So I think it kind of gives them a spot to be able to put a smaller image, but like stuff they would put on Instagram and stuff like that too, to incorporate in with the professional looking lay flat book.
Right, and I think that's a brilliant thought too. And the more you're available to your client, the more comfortable they feel about doing those things. Hey, that's a great idea, right? So here's a spot where you can add a card or anything like that into it. So the baby announcement, book and like letters to the baby, things that you want to leave to your child or your client's child. It's a really a great idea, and a lot you can do with sort of this multimedia feel.
And Robert, right now you kind of keep saying it. I just want to make sure everyone's clear. You keep saying lay flat books, right? So that's what we have a couple different styles, albums, lay flat books, hardcover books, softcover books. And right now we're just talking about lay flat.
Right, exactly. And it is a little bit confusing, and we'll do kind of a recap of what the books are as we walk through them. The lay flat books, and let's just go ahead and show that. So they're all designed in spreads, and you see how they're created. They will lay flat. And that's the cool part about this. Then there's lay flat, there's hardcover books, which is more like a magazine. There's softcover books, which is like hardcover books, but as the name implies, they're going to be a soft cover. So let's look at another example. Now this one has a full photo cover, but probably hard to see the texture. Maybe I can get it in the light. That this is actually a fine art canvas cover, which is pretty cool with this design and this texture that goes along with it. So the same idea, the more you put into this, the more you're going to get out of it, right? And if this is going to be, let's say, a guest sign-in book, right, at a wedding, I promise you, what you put into it, you will get out of it. Because think about it, this is going to be in front of every single guest at the wedding. And I can tell you from experience, it can and it does make a difference and might even get you continued work in the future, right? Also, you'll be a superstar to your client. So the same idea as the soft touch mat, and this one probably not necessarily going to be that multimedia because this is going to be handled, but the different notes that you can put in there, and as we've seen, different suggestions of, I don't want to write in there. We'll give them those ideas of what do you want to write? You know, what should our first adventure be? Things like that. Okay, a baby book, and now we've got engagement or wedding sign-in book. What's next? What's the season? It is senior season, right? So let's look at those, and again, thinking about how can I make this creative, right? How can I make this different? So yes, we have another lay flat book, and essentially, if this can be signed, a signed book, but again, especially with the kids, helping them with, you know, just add your own questions. What should I do with my year off or whatever it's going to be? Why do you think I'm the bomb? Things like that. How did I make your life better?
I'm not sure they say that anymore, Robert.
Oh,
I think
they don't?
They say more like sus or I
That
can't
is
think of
sus,
what's the good
that would
word?
be sus if
I
they
don't
said
know.
the bomb. Yeah.
Not chuggy. I don't know.
Yeah. What makes me not chuggy? You can design that into your book. So we're going to talk about design in a second, because these are your designs, right, that you have laid out, and you're going to create these in Photoshop. And so think about that too, the different designs that you can create. They've got to be submitted as flattened JPEGs, but I'm going to just say a little advice here. Make sure you keep your layered copies, right, your layered PSD files, so then you have a template of the template. You know, that you can say, I have these 3 or 4 design types that you customize, and then it's easy for you moving forward.
Well, and Robert, you brought up a good point too of like, sometimes this can be overwhelming to people, even though it can set you apart. You can use the same template for a lot of the same kids and simply change the color and a few elements, and it'll look brand new. Exactly. I mean, we do that all the time with templates here, and people are wild and we're like, we've showed this a lot, but it just made a simple change. So that would be
Little
something
tweaks.
simple. Yep.
Yeah. Fantastic. So then this is a custom photo cover, and keep in mind, a photo cover is anything that you want it to be. So it's photo, text, elements, design elements. On the back it's just color, but that's still part of the custom photo cover. Okay.
Robert, we did get a comment, maybe the new word is bussin'.
Is bussin' good or
Yeah.
bussin' bad?
No, it's good.
Why am I bussin'? Put that in. I think I'm done.
We need you to come back,
okay,
Robert.
Okay. Let's move on. So here we have another sign-in book. Now this is just the idea of, okay, you know, the kids have their yearbooks and whatnot, but this senior having their own personal book, so let's make it fun, right?
Yep.
Let's add some pop to it. Let's add some color, some cool design elements. And I think this is really a great example of what you were saying, right? You're going to create some designs, and they're going to be your own templates, right? Mm-hmm. You're just going to tweak some colors or tweak some layout elements here and then it's a whole new thing for somebody else.
And I think what's cool about this one too, like you could obviously sign on the full image, but even the color blocks you're showing, I think sometimes people always gravitate towards white, which I get is nice. But this is kind of fun though with the color pop, and you can still see this perfectly just well with the black marker that the kids will sign in, or a pen or anything, right? So I think, like you said, it's kind of a unique example in that sense, not just plain white. It does have some elements to it, and they could even sign, right over the.
Absolutely. She's totally bussing. I mean, if I had to pick a word.
Connor, the actual trendy one, is telling us we need to not use these words anymore, Robert.
All right. This is the first and last time this will be seen and heard. Okay. So these are the lay flat books, right? So they're going to be the top of the food chain of the book categories, right? And so we were sort of talking about you're going to lay these out yourself. So, Kristina, do you have any advice about how to do that?
Yes. So we have talked about our editor here before, which is our online software that you can do some basic design work for albums and books. But the stuff we were kind of showing is you're going to actually want to use our templates. And Lucas, if you put me over to the website here. So I'm on the main page. And if you go to ordering here, there's this really great section here of resource and support. So right at the top is sizing, templates, and downloads. So I click that, and I can automatically see everything here that has a sizing template. And when we say sizing template, like obviously I know how to what these sizes are, but I always start with the sizing template no matter what. So I can go ahead and download all, or I can just go ahead and simply click on albums and books, and it'll just download it right to my desktop. So it's coming right here. And actually I did it actually downloaded pretty fast, so I'll go ahead and use this one. And you can see it downloaded. And I have multiple options in here, as Robert was saying. So what we just talked about are the lay flat books. And there is albums and stuff like that. But I'll go ahead and go into lay flat books since that's what Robert was just showing. And I'll show you like an 8x10 in here. So you can see the spread. And what this is nice for is you can see the bleed, trim, safe line, and then if you're adding a border, so you know everything you're adding in here. When you open this up in Photoshop as well, it'll have a green line here for the spine. And I know that's always really helpful to me too. So I always use these no matter what. And there's really good info in here too. You can see like there's a little README file that no one actually reads, but it's actually really helpful, right? When people call and ask questions, like, well, you could find it in the README file. But this is really helpful too. So if you know how many spreads you're doing, you can tell what cover you're going to actually need to make the spine correct and everything like that. But yeah, it is a little bit of more work than just dragging and dropping. But again, like you kind of said, it is worth it in the end. And you can do some mixed kind of things here. Where we kind of here when we do our trade show samples and stuff like that, we use a mixture of both, and we kind of cheat, just because our editor is so nice. So I do here, Robert, have, I'm going to go to my studio projects here on Studio. So I do have a project here already. And here what we did in here is, I'm going to go ahead and click Customize. And in here what I did is I uploaded, so each project base you bring in per images. I also brought in some of those JPEG designs that I made in Photoshop. So then I can combine this album with some of the pre-designs. Like I don't want to design every page, right? But I want to make it look kind of custom. So you can do that by combining, let's say you just want to make 6 spreads in Photoshop, but yet you still want more images with the white space in here. You can do that at the same time. And like I said, then drag in some of these. So I quickly made this one in Photoshop ahead of time, but then I combined it with the editor. So I really like this. And actually, we have a sample here, Robert, if you want to show this, of the actual printed version. So this is a combination of using the sizing templates and the editor.
Which is really a brilliant thing. And some of you have kind of sort of figured that out, on your own and jumped in there, because you're going to be loading flattened JPEG files, right, into rows. If you order it that way, that means these are pre-sized. Yep. So just use that. Any of these online elements are meant to be tools for you, right? How can I make this work for me, right? Yep. What I want to do with this thing, and I think that is absolutely a brilliant example of that, so that you have that option of pre-designed elements, and then the ease of the editor, the drag and drop editor. Yep. Again, these are the kind of things that make you stand out.
And we get lots of questions too online, like a lot of you use Fundy, and so like you could do the same thing with your Fundy designs. It has a little more flexibility in there. You could get your JPEGs and then bring the Fundy designs in here, just because it is so nice to preview this to your client and use this tool, like you said, but using other tools as well. So it's easy.
Yep, absolutely. And any of these things on Studio, if you create this sort of hybrid album, that's something that you can actually you can send a proof to your client. So think about that as well. Okay, really, really cool. Think about that sort of hybrid option and things that you can do there. Let's move on really quickly to the softcover books, as we got a lot to cover in a short amount of time. Now, the softcover books, I think, are wide open for just doing cool things, right? These can be categorically adventures. Think about this and how you would set up something like this. Again, kind of a multimedia experience. Like these prints are taped in there, right? And you could even mention this to your client, right? They go on those trips. You kind of said that before. Yep. Hey, I'll set up your books for you. And they're lower cost, soft cover books, and as flexible as you make them.
Well, and these are pretty cheap, right, Robert? Mm-hmm. And I think what's cool about this, like this option you're pitching here is an adventure book, but like how cool if I got that from the photographer, even if it didn't have any images of me, it gave me room to be creative, but to put my images in there, you would think of that photographer all year long, right? Yeah. And like you mentioned before too, you could even reach out quarterly to print their mini snapshots. They'll think of you and they'll be excited to get them in the mail to add to their book, you know?
Exactly. And how about, the family stuff or pets or things like that, right? Because of the lower cost. So think of those kind of things, but also think in terms of how about your wedding photographer? How about the venues that you work with, right? Think about that. Books that you can create and leave for your vendors with your photography in it, their information in it. It's going to make them look good. They're going to be showing your images to their clients that are coming to check out their venue. Or here's another usage idea. How about a real estate photographer, right, who wants to show his or her work, right, in a cheaper way, let's say that, less expensive and something that they can send or leave behind. Right, so this...
Well, and Robert, typically realtors would have like a 3-ring binder or like a printed PDF, right? Like this will make the realtor look good, but like you could sell that realtor hundreds of these, right? Because depending on how big the client is or how many house showings they're doing, it's a pretty fun market that you could do something like that with.
Exactly. And also just, again, back to kind of that adventure or travel kind of stuff that maybe is not the multimedia, but they have a ton of images. Maybe they just need help, right? Yeah. Can you just lay these out? I have these 300 cool images from my trip. And you do that for them. And like you said, then you're in their mind throughout the entire year. Menuing, of course, too, right? You can do shooting guides for your clients and things like that, right? There's a ton of flexibility.
So that one I think you're showing is like a senior guide for hair and makeup. So basically you'd print those for all your seniors, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So consider that. I know we kind of went over this kind of quickly because we are a little bit short on time, but the softcover books really are super flexible.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about a couple of like lower cost items that are unique that you can toss into there.
That sounds good, Robert. Yeah. You want to pass these over here, Robert? Yeah. So actually we're kind of showing, we call these our sports products just simply because they're in our sports catalog. But we kind of view these on the marketing team here as like our swag kind of fun things that we're using them for. Connor's telling me to turn. I don't know what I'm turning. But yeah, so we're kind of pitching here, like this mug right here has a logo on it. So this could, when people come into your studio, it could be their coffee mug, stuff like that. This one here has like a fun saying, like our, kind of an inspirational, like rise and slay. This could actually be like a gift when they come in or if they spend a certain amount of money. And again, these are all lower cost items, right? But they actually still look really nice. These water mugs here, this is like our insulated travel mug. But this one again has your logo on it. But these actually keep things warm and cold for a really long time. That's kind of like a little bit a senior water bottle. And that one too is kind of pitching the senior. But again, kind of incorporating the design, which is a little different other than sports. A lot of times when you see sports and events products, you just see the grade school image or just like the one sports image. So again, we kind of just want to say don't forget about these products because you can use them in lots of ways. And again, for marketing, we use them for little events that we give away. When people come in, it's a nice gift and it feels kind of fun. Everyone likes a water bottle.
Yeah, so think about what a superstar you'll be, right? They can be add-ons, but they can also be gifts, right? Yes. Yep. That's going to position you at a higher end.
The last few items here we have, and we've shown these before too, is like bag tags. So typically, let's see if you want to hold one up for Connor, maybe. Like that one's a fun one right there. Robert's showing up is like kind of like using the bag tag for the kids and has like a little alligator design on it, and you could change it pink or green or whatever if it's a boy or girl. But again, normally in sports it would just have the sports football guy on it and it would have their date. But this is kind of a really creative way. And again, think about the kids carrying backpacks, school things, right. And they'll use it all the time. So again, just think of little ways that you can make a difference in your clients' lives, right? But it's really cheap for you to do. So again, it could be an add-on product, but again, I think it'll go a long ways is kind of what we're seeing on a lot of these fun things here.
Absolutely.
These, I feel like pop sockets, everyone probably knows what pop sockets are. Again, put your logo. You could put one of our fun words that we learned today, Robert,
yes.
that we will not speak of.
Ever
And he's holding keychains. Again, same way that you could kind of use the same thing there. These ones are kind of fun metal magnets. This one has like a flat back magnet that you could put up. This one has an easel back magnet. If you want to show that one, easel, sorry. And this one is a 5x5 metal print, but in one of our wood stands, and the wood stands are just $1. And we've actually given these away too at workshops that people are really appreciative of. I don't know if you can see, Connor, maybe this side too, you can see. So it's a metal print with the wood on it.
Perfect. So these are things that are coming from our sports and events catalog, right, that you could just contact our awesome customer service team, and we'll get that link to you sort of to poke around there. Really, I think, kind of fun and effective things to, I would consider these mostly like gift items, right? Add those on, make yourself cool by doing that. Okay, we do have a question popping in here. What advice can you give clients about proofing books and album spreads where they can give feedback on each proof? Now, for something like this, if you're going to go through the studio, right now, I mean, we are constantly working on that, right? And we are constantly trying to add functionality to it. Right now, you're going to see an unpriced, unbranded proof that your client is going to see, and you would just discuss those as opposed to having direct feedback on each spread. Am I right about that?
Correct. I know too, Matt Hodgman, our client success manager, always says he actually never really gave them a chance to, he showed them a proof, but he really didn't give them a chance to edit because he says it caused problems, right? But I think it's still nice when they're investing so much money. I think you can make the choice of what's best for you, right?
Yep, absolutely. So it's going to depend on you and your business model. Once, real quick before we go, we want to just show you, now this is going to be a little bit more of a unique and priced up item. Kristina, go ahead and, well, actually, let me talk about the acrylic blocks for a sec, because I'm so in love with these. I overtalk these so much. These are absolutely gorgeous. So what these are is, it's like an acrylic print. It has the print, the styrene. This is a 1-inch block. But what are we looking at here? We're looking at an announcement. Right, that's a card. Correct. Make it a permanent keepsake, right? And what are some of the things that they can do with this as well?
Yeah, so I think, Robert, you're right. We're actually showing here, so like you can use acrylic blocks for the images and they're still beautiful on their own, but we're kind of also pitching another use case of taking something that they, like I said, wedding announcement, grad announcement, milestones in people's lives that they probably hold on to anyways, and actually turn it into something they can display for long term. And I'll actually show you here, Lucas, if you want to take me over to the computer, I'll go to...
While Kristina's doing that, I mean, think about how easy that is. You've already made the design for the card, right? And you can swing it over and put it into your block.
Correct. So I'm going to order.whcc.com, and this is another spot where you can just order, drag and drop our card designs. So what we're kind of showing here is taking these card designs and turning them into acrylic blocks. If you see up top here, there is a spot here for acrylic blocks. And everything we're kind of showing here that Robert just kind of went through is actually in here. And let's go ahead and do, we'll do this wedding one here. So again, this is the really simple drag and drop. I'm going to find some images here to be able to pull from. And this is a senior, but we'll use them anyways. Oh, Mom, here we go. It's a Mrs. and Mrs. She's alone, but
Fair
you
enough.
get the joke. But anyways, you can drag and drop. You can change the colors. You can change even the engraving. So we have a Mr. and Mrs., and then we even have like our wedding. And again, you could choose to do no engraving as well, and then just do basically focus on the design. But again, I think these clients don't really think of stuff like this, and it takes you to the next level. Kind of what we're pitching this whole time here, Robert, is these little small things will make a difference to your clients, and it'll really show you know, that you care and that you're trendy and that you're, you know, like you really want to, like this looks like you spent a lot of time on it, but actually I could just click order right here and be done with this, you know, change the name.
Literally in less than a minute. And so you caught that quick shot of the Our Wedding. That was the engraving, right, which is on here, which is a pretty sweet addition, and it's new.
Yep.
So check those out. Acrylic blocks are really, really a great addition. Okay, so think about those. Folks, we want to thank you so much for joining us here today. It's always a pleasure. We might have a question coming in. Any way to sell acrylics to multiple. Spin the wheel. I want to solve. Pat, I want to solve. Acrylic blocks to multiple clients through Studio.
Not right now. How cards? Cards is a pretty awesome way to be able to do that, right? You could have just like we showed you all the projects, right? You can do that and have multiple card set designs going on at one time to a client. The acrylic
Send
block,
those out to your client. and they
right?
can-
The acrylic block designs aren't in there yet, but they will be soon. So we intend for the acrylic block designs to be just like the cards, where you can go and make your own custom card set for them, give them to your client, let them do their own. It's just not there yet. So
Right, so that's coming, folks. And don't worry about, Kristina's popping through here because she's familiar with it. And the Studio interface is automatically integrated just from the website. If you notice you're on the website, I want to build an album, as soon as you click in and start one, it'll automatically create a studio project for you. So it's going to be under your sign, and don't worry about that. Okay, folks, it looks like the big red light is going off. The producer's jumping up and down in the booth, and it's time for us to call it a day. We want to thank you so much for joining us again, and be sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube, and then, of course, on Instagram at WHCC Pro, so you can keep up on the latest content and know when the next live is going to come, which I think is probably going to be the 24th.
You're actually better than myself, Robert. Yes.
24th. Look for it. Again, on behalf of Kristina, our awesome 27 person crew here, our jumping up and down producer, everybody here from the White House family, sincerely, we're here from you, for you, and we appreciate the time that you take out to spend with us, and we wish you the best, and we will see you next time.